Okay, now to this breaking news. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, in a major speech unlike any in recent administration history, urged the Chinese people to stand up. Let's listen.
Our approach can't just be about getting tough. That's unlikely to achieve the outcome that we desire. We must also engage and empower the Chinese people, a dynamic, freedom-loving people who are completely distinct from the Chinese Communist Party. That begins with in-person diplomacy. Those of you watching live, thank you for tuning in. And finally, as
Washington Post opinion piece says China's president, okay. This, as a Washington Post opinion piece, says the president of China has now amassed more power than any Chinese leader since Mao Zedong, and he's acting more recklessly than China did in the days when it had a collective leadership. Let's welcome back to the show Florida Republican Michael Waltz. He's on House Armed Services. He is a House China Task Force member. Great to see you, Congressman. Your reaction to the speech?
Well, I want to commend the Secretary and the President, for that matter, for taking China on and making the distinction between the Chinese people with a long and amazing history and culture and the authoritarian dictatorship that is the Chinese Communist Party, that is President Xi. As you mentioned, he has essentially gotten himself elected for life. And at this point, between the crackdown on the Muslim Uyghurs, on the Tibetan Buddhists, on Christians all over, on Hong Kong, on Taiwan, what they've done to cover up COVID, the march in the South China Sea, taking on India. Look, we have to understand in the United States that the Chinese Communist Party has been in a Cold War with us for many years. We now, I hope, in the wake of the coronavirus, will wake up to it. This is the most dangerous adversary we have ever faced in the history of America, and I commend the administration for taking it head on.
You're a Green Beret, a decorated combat veteran. The administration is saying, China, shut your consulate in Houston by tomorrow. General Jack Keane and others say China's embassies really are platforms for spying on the U.S. Is that true?
This is long overdue, and that is absolutely true. Look, just read some of President Xi's own statements. He plans for China to lead a new world order where China calls the shots and America does not, and they plan to do it by stealing their way to the top, and they've been doing it for some time now. It's either through cyber, it's through our academic institutions, or they actually are now buying up technologies that have been bankrupted by COVID in key areas: artificial intelligence, robotics, advanced materials. They just launched a stealth fighter that looks exactly like ours. They just launched a rover to Mars on a rocket that looks exactly like ours. China has stolen their way to the top, and they are now challenging the United States around the world.
Yeah, it's Democrat Senator Mark Warner who agrees with the president and shutting down the Houston consulate. Let's listen to Joe Biden, who says the administration cannot call out China because, quote, people do not make a distinction between China and Asian Americans. Watch this.
Look what he's doing now. He's blaming everything on China. He's blaming everything on the Chinese. He's blaming everything, and people don't make a distinction. As you well know, from a South Korean and someone from Beijing, they make no distinction. It's Asia. And that's the way he's just using it as a wedge.
Your reaction to that, sir?
Well, look, at the end of the day, Joe Biden, as we speak, son is an equity holder, a partner with the Chinese central bank. So I don't think we can count on anything Joe Biden says to be tough on China. And at the end of the day, this isn't a Republican or Democrat problem. This is an American problem. And this is about defending freedom around the world and right here at home.
And his son Hunter has been accused of working with China financial firms as well. So that's an issue. Democrats, let's get back to Democrat Senator Mark Warner supporting what the president and the Trump administration is doing and shutting down the China embassy in Houston. Let's listen to this.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, for the last 2 years, I and other members of the Intel Committee have been holding classified briefings with business leaders and academic leaders about the concerted efforts of the Chinese Communist Party to steal our intellectual property, to steal it from companies, to steal it from universities, to be on better guard and greater guard. the fact that many of the Chinese tech companies are in effect arms of the Chinese state. And I think, without getting into the specifics, I think the FBI action is appropriate. I know there will be some reaction from China, but this is in our national security interest, and more American businesses and universities need to acknowledge, recognize, and guard against this problem.
Congressman, your reaction?
Well, that's absolutely right. This is a matter of state policy from the Communist Party, again, to steal from our academic institutions through professors, through co-opting American professors, and through Chinese students that they're forcing to take this technology home.
Congressman, thank you so much. We will be right back. Stay right there.